Hello and welcome to Creativity TV. On today's show we are joined by Jo Austin again. Hi Jo. Jo's going to be showing us how to make a triple easel card, and I'm really excited about this because I don't think easel cards are, for me, are very easy to do.
Oh, they are so simple.
Are they?
They are. To create this, what I'm going to do is, the first thing that I've actually chose to do, should I say, is to actually take this foldies card. Because I want all my layers cut out of the same paper, I'm only really wasting one envelope when I use a foldies card, than instead of wasting 3 envelopes. So I've got basically no cards to go in them if I'm just using a normal card. Right. So obviously to create the layers, what I'm going to do is just take some little sections off of this one. So I've got one double layer there, and I've got another little double layer there, so we can just take that little section off there as well. And this is going to create all those layers that we need for our card.
Right, okay.
Okay, so just working on one of these, all I'm going to do is just take some scallop hearts. So these are the X-cut nesting hearts, and these are going to go across the fold of my card. So on the folded edge, right, what we actually need to do, if I just hold that up so you can see, is actually place it so the centre there is actually inside the card, but so these two little peeps here are actually sticking up above the card.
Okay.
And this is going to keep that card joined. So what I'm going to do is pop that one onto there, and then just see which one fits on. So this is going to be this little one here as well. So again, place it exactly the same way. And then we're going to cut these. And then obviously when we cut them, you need one double folded heart, so one that's being cut onto the fold, and you also need a single one as well.
Right, okay.
And then you can see where we've had the little shoulders of the hearts actually sitting above it. We've actually created a card blank just there. Now obviously we've not got the top part of the heart, because obviously that would have cut it completely.
Yeah.
So this is why we need that single one as well. The next thing that we need to do as well is to actually cut your plain ones. So on your plain ones, what we're actually going to do is come down a size. So when we cut the plain hearts, which are going to create obviously the inside with the paper, we're going to go not the largest, but the next largest, and then the one down from that one, and the one down from that one. So when we layer them together, we're getting this really pretty look where you've got that little bit of a border around.
Right, okay, I'm with you.
So there you can see I've got obviously the pieces that I've cut already, my full scallops. As I was saying, we need the one that's on the fold, you need the one over the top, so that's going to lie on there, and then that's going to give you the shoulders of the heart.
Okay.
Okay. Now to obviously create the easel part of this, we're going to take the largest heart first, and I'm going to use my guillotine as a scoring board, just so I can do that little bit of measuring, a little bit of scoring together.
Right, okay.
So what I'm going to do is pop this onto my board, and I want to score on your largest one 3 centimetres in from your furthest point out. So that's the little narrow end, the little tip of your heart there.
Right.
We just need to score in at 3 centimetres. So just make a little line, pull it across so you can see where you're going, and then score it down on your scoreboard. We're going to fold that section up, and that's going to create the base part of your easel there.
Right, okay.
Okay, so that's your back one done. The next ones, we're going to take this middle section here, so this is your next largest one as well. We're going to go in, again pop your end right up to this little butt bar of your guillotine, so we'll use that as our little butt bar. Pop the edges of the heart up to the top, and again just measure roughly how big it is. So this one's around about 7.5. I don't get too caught up with measurements. So at 3.5, just score another line down and fold that back down again.
Okay.
And then repeat that with your smallest one. So again, pop it in, just there, measure how large it is, roughly half it, and fold it down again.
Right, okay.
Okay, so there are our little sections complete. So what we need to do now is just pop that heart together. And then to do this, what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of wet glue, and I'm going to put my largest one down first. And then we're going to take the middle size, and on this bottom section that's not got that crease on there, we're just going to add a little bit of wet glue all around the outside edge. And then it's going to sit on that front point, so right at the front of that little heart there. I'm just going to bring it down just very slightly further so it's actually slightly overlapping, and then we can stick that one in place. And then we're going to do exactly the same with the smallest one. So again, the end that's got the crease on, we're not going to glue that. We're going to glue this one that's got no crease across.
Right.
Okay.
And you don't have to put too much glue on the back of these, do you?
I mean, I don't know if you can see that. I've just got a little tiny little bit of glue.
Yeah.
Because we don't want it to sort of slide about, we just need it to obviously adhere and stay in one place. So just a little tiny bit of glue. And again, right down to the centre point, and then just slide it slightly further forward. So this is really the only point you can see, and then that shape's just going to follow its way down.
Okay.
Okay. And then this is what's given us that triple easel effect there. So all these little sections there are going to fold up and give us that extra dimension. Yeah. So all we need to do now is to actually pop our main hearts onto the front here. There we go. So a little bit of glue just on the top there. And again, just round the edge and a little tiny bit in the middle. And then this one is going to sit again just on the top and just bring it down very slightly. And there's your first layer there.
Wow, okay.
Okay, you see that extra little bit of dimension that you've got? So we can pull that one out of the way and repeat it with your second one. And then with this one, it's slightly a little bit trickier to put this larger one on because we need this back section here to obviously create that extra little bit of depth, so it's going to stand up and be a little bit more supported. Yeah. What I do is hold that up at a right angle there, so you've got round about a 90-degree angle. We're going to push this little section there forward, and then we're going to place the heart roughly where we need it to be, with a little bit of a bow at the front. You see how that's just very slightly bowing? Yeah. So it's down over this halfway mark there, and then we're just going to give it a little bit of a press in place. So again, tiny little bit of glue on there. And then this one obviously is the largest one of the three hearts that I've cut there. That's going to go into the centre.
This is so pretty.
I just absolutely love these papers. I love how they go together. I just love the look of them. And again, because they're all double-sided, I've got double use out. The only thing I've not managed to suss out is how to split them in half because I can't make a decision to which one to use. There we go. So again, this little section here, this is your alternative one. So I've just got this one that just says with love, a little bit of wording. Yeah. I've inked around the edge of that so it's got a little bit of a framework on it. Yeah. And then I've doodled around that one as well, just in a straight line. And again, we can just layer that one, move it back. And then the two smaller hearts, again, I've used with the first pattern that I've done. Yeah. Now you need two smaller hearts. The first one is going to go onto the front part of the easel there. And then obviously because we need something on this little section here on the base, because obviously you always cover the base of your easel cards. Yeah. I've got exactly the same pattern again, and that's going to go on that front section there. So if you just remember, every piece of paper, every piece of card needs to be facing to you, and then we're there. Okay, and then the only other thing that I would say, just to make this stand up, is this bottom section of your scallop heart, which is why I've opted to use a scallop. All we're going to do is just bend it up so it's got a little hook just on that side there. Yeah. The same on your second one. You're not going to see this, so it doesn't matter if you are sort of just moving it out of the way. Yeah. And that front one there, which you can just leave intact. So what happens then is that little hook is going to come. If I just lift that up, that little hook there is going to go in this little cut. Just slots into there. Okay, so we can just lift it up. The little hook just goes in there. The hook of the largest one is going to go in that little section there. And then to decorate it up, I've gone a little bit mad with this With Love collection with the tatty teddies on there. And I've just taken this little glittery decoupage teddy. This is going to sit on the front of my card, and I think it's just so sweet, and that little bit of encapsulated glitter on there.
I just love this range, it's beautiful.
It's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, and then just to finish it off, on this back layer here, I'm just going to take some adhesive gems, just for that extra little bit of bling, just on that side. There we go. So we only need a few, and I usually put things in threes, it just looks a little bit more compact.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah. There we go, and that's complete.
That's
so you
beautiful.
can see there obviously the difference just by using a little bit of ink, slightly different papers and different toppers, what sort of effects you can actually create.
That's brilliant. And they fold down so you can just pop them
in. They fold down so you can just basically unhook them, lay them down, and they will all go on top of each other. Brilliant. Either into a large envelope if you've got a large topper, or again this one will go down as well. So you can see there, that'll go down into a smaller one as well.
That's beautiful. Thank you very much for showing us that. I hope you've enjoyed today's show. And for now, happy crafting.